I again want to thank you for selecting me to be the quarterback of this great team. And I want you to know, to this day, every time I walk into these council chambers and prepare to take my seat around this horseshoe, I have to pinch myself to make sure that it's real. In the entire history of the city of Los Angeles, only a few thousand people have had the honor to sit in these seats. And I want you to know that I am truly humbled by that. A few months back, Mr. Koretz, Mr. Bloomingfield, and Mr. Englander did a presentation before this council. It was related to the Jewish Holocaust, and a very moving presentation it was. But there was a rabbi, and I cannot remember his name, but he said something that haunts me, that stays with me to this day. And members, he stood right up there at that podium, and he looked each and every one of us in the eyes, and he said, "Bad people are born into every generation." Now, I had a conversation with our friend, Senator Kamala Harris, about this subject. And she reminded me that it was Coretta Scott King who said that you don't win your freedom in one battle. You don't win your freedom or your civil rights with one fight. That it's a continuous struggle with a lot of fights, and that every generation has a responsibility to fight for its freedom and its civil rights. Bad people are born into every generation. Now, when I was 12, in fact, I have never told this story before. My sons have never even heard this story. I just told it to my wife last night. When I was 12, growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, one of the joys of my life and my friend's life was on Sunday, we'd scrape together $1 every Sunday so that we could go to the movies. The movies were cheap. We wanted to go. We hoped maybe we get a couple of phone numbers. Maybe if we were lucky, we could kiss a girl. On my way to the movies at 12 years old, all of a sudden, I felt something hit my shoulder. It was a strawberry milkshake that had some French fries in it. And as I looked up, there were two grown white men calling me and my friends every name imaginable, telling me to go back to Africa and using the N-word, the N-word, the N-word. Members, I cannot describe to you how it felt to be a 12-year-old boy and to recognize that the very sight of you would repulse someone like that. And as I ran away, I'm wondering what to do. I could not tell my mother because she would no longer allow me to go to the movies. I couldn't tell my father because he would have gotten in the car with his brothers and drove up and down the boulevard looking for white people to beat up. Members, I was 12 years old and I looked 10. I wasn't 5 feet tall, and I know I didn't weigh 80 pounds. So what did I do? I began to hate. My heart hardened, my soul blackened, and I can't even tell you the terrible things that I did for the next several years because I'm too embarrassed to tell you what I did. Bad people are born into every generation. Now let's fast forward for 50 plus years to another young man born outside of Cleveland, Ohio, an individual who is one of the most recognized athletes in the world. Arguably the second or third best person to ever play basketball in his life, has led his team to 7 straight NBA finals, won 3, has made millions and millions of dollars, has raised and donated millions of dollars to children of all colors throughout the Midwest. And I'm talking about LeBron James of the Cleveland Cavaliers. And he's informed that his home, that I believe is located in Mr. Koretz's district, has been vandalized. And on the wall or on the fence is painted the N-word. And if you watched him as he responded to the press, you could read between the lines and see that he was trying to say, what the hell is it that I have to do to be considered a man? Not the N-word, but a man. In the cities of Philadelphia and St. Louis, at Jewish cemeteries, graves were desecrated. Outside of the Smithsonian, a hangman's noose was found hanging from a limb. A neo-Nazi kills 2 men trying to defend a Muslim girl on a train in Portland. There are bad people born to every generation. And when you listen to the rabbi and you listen to Miss King, you come to the realization that as long as this world exists, that there must be a constant struggle between good and evil. A few weeks ago, a report comes out that indicates in the state of California, hate crimes have increased by double digits for the past 2 years. And the targets of these hate crimes are blacks, Jews, and gay men. If you look at a report where it relates to the city of Los Angeles, Latino-related hate crimes are up 69%. Bad people are born into every generation. many people, hear me now, many people spent many years and many sacrifices to create an environment that would elect a council that looks like us. 3 brothers, 2 gays, one of which is a quarter Native American, 2 Latinas, 1 Italian cop, 3 Jews, 2 Latinos, an Armenian, and 2 of the members of this body are immigrants. We owe a tremendous debt to the individuals that made the sacrifices so that the makeup of this council would look the way that it does. We cannot stand by and allow bad people to roll back the clock on the progress that we have made, not just in this city, but in this country. So, Mr. Mitch O'Farrell, we created a program in the city of LA, Embrace LA. Mr. O'Farrell, it is time for us to take the training wheels off of the Embrace LA program, and we're going to go citywide. We've got funding, and we're going to partner with an organization that many of you may have heard of. It is the Community Coalition, which was founded by Congresswoman Karen Bass and headed up by our own Marqueece Harris Dawson, and is now led by a young man by the name of Alberto. And their responsibility will be to fight to bring LA together, to make people realize that we are all one race, the human race. Hear me, members. We will have over 100 small dinners going on throughout the city of Los Angeles, all on the same day, all at the same time. Channel 35 scrambling to cover as many of these dinners as they can. They will be on Snapchat and social media, and we will ask our conventional media to help us and cover this. What is more important than us fighting not only to save Los Angeles, but to save the United States of America? That's what we are doing. And you might say, well, how does a dinner make a change? Well, Alberto from the Community Coalition reminded me that some of the biggest changes in this nation and in this world occurred. They were started seated around somebody's dinner table. And we have a responsibility to do everything that we can. Think about this. Every generation, every color, every religion, gays, lesbians, straight, rich, poor, and the police sitting down with the common goal to try to make this city come together. So that is a main agenda that this council will move forward with. 2 years ago, Mr. Jose Huizar came to me and he said, we ought to start an ad hoc committee on homelessness. Well, we took that ad hoc committee, we turned it into a permanent committee, chaired by Mr. Marqueece Harris Dawson. In a matter of months, we had the first comprehensive plan to fight homelessness in the history of the city of LA. I would like to believe that we inspired the county of Los Angeles because they did the exact same thing. Within a 5-month period, we went to the residents of this city twice, and we asked them to give us money so that we could deal with our homeless situation. And the residents of this city said yes. And they decided to reach in their own pocket to put together $1.2 billion to build housing and over $300 million a year to create services for homelessness. We're going to follow that same model with our ad hoc on immigration, which we made a standing committee July 1st, chaired by Mr. Gilbert Cedillo. Look at us around this horseshoe. Los Angeles should be the tip of the spear where it relates to the fight to protect not just immigrants, but all of Los Angeles. Like David Roos said in the clip that I showed you a few minutes ago, we will be a refuge. We will be here to fight for the people of Los Angeles. And that's what's going to happen on our standing committee on immigration, where we brought in an expert, not just on immigration law, but civil rights law, a guy named Peter Shea. Now, he is not warm and he is not fuzzy, but he is good at what he does, and Mr. Cedillo will lead the charge in creating a comprehensive law that will protect human rights for every resident of the city of Los Angeles. We have a responsibility to try to do that. We have a responsibility to fight to do that. I've had the pleasure. In fact, I want to say just one other quick thing. My daughter-in-law-to-be, who many of you know, she works in this place, her pastor said that it's not enough anymore to just be non-racist, that each and every one of us have to become anti-racist. And wherever we see racism, we must be there, Johnny, on the spot to fight it. We have a proven track record in doing things that people do not believe that we can do. I had the pleasure to attend swearing-in ceremonies in the district for many of you. Mr. Joe Buscaino, I was at Mr. Cedillo's, I was at Mr. O'Farrell's, I was at Mr. Price. And you all had a very important agenda that you laid out, but two things were the same in every speech that I heard. The need to bring us together, but also the importance of tackling another important problem in the city of Los Angeles, and that is the creation of affordable housing. So we will create an independent commission where we will partner with the Los Angeles Chamber of Commerce and Labor and put together an independent commission that will work with Mr. Cedillo to come up with ways to make building affordable housing affordable. And they're going to look at all aspects of this, from using shipping containers to prefabricated homes to pieces of prefabricated homes, to the time that it takes to get all of your permits here in City Hall. They will work for 6 to 8 months, report to Mr. Cedillo, and Mr. Cedillo will bring to this body a set of recommendations that I believe on that day we will pass, because we have a moral obligation to do that. And it is hard to believe that in the city of Los Angeles, individuals cannot afford to live in the homes that they grew up in. So we have to do something to try to address that concern. Another thing, members, we've had a lot of talk, a lot of recommendations, and I think that Los Angeles, I think the people of this city elected us to be bold, creative, and to think outside of the box. I think that they voted for us and put us here because they expect us to take calculated risks. So today, we're introducing a motion that will be directing Mr. Paul Krikorian to revive his jobs committee and look into the feasibility of creating the Los Angeles Municipal Bank. Now, people might think that we're crazy. Trust me, we, this council, we won't be running the bank. But imagine if this is possible, to have a bank where its vision statement is to finance the building of affordable housing. Imagine if we have a bank that is focused on working with small business entrepreneurs to give them loans. And I'll tell you something else. We in Los Angeles, we won't be like a giant ostrich and stick our heads in the sand, because we recognize that 80% of the people in this city voted for us to regulate, tax, and police the cannabis industry. So, Mr. Krikorian, when you are leading the effort, finding out how feasible it is to create this bank and what we need from Sacramento to create this bank, also let's look at affording the cannabis industry the opportunity to be customers of this bank. Do you know, I spoke to a reporter a month ago who was with an individual from one of the cannabis outlets, and he went with him when this person paid his taxes. He paid $47,000 in cash. Do you know we've got people that are going to go home tonight and sleep on a mattress that's worth $2 million? That have $1.5 million in cash buried in the backyard and $1 million or $2 million buried in the walls. We have to figure out a way to make this industry work. We in government are supposed to push the envelope, not protect the status quo. So, Mr. Krikorian, that is your task. Do it. And I urge you, sir, to please do that quickly. Members, we are fighting. In fact, no, I forgot. I looked at Gary Tobin in the chamber. We're putting together a program with the Chamber of Commerce where each and every one of us will identify a business, a small business in our district, and the chamber will mentor, partner them, give them advice, give them resources to help that business grow. If it is successful, we're going to take that program and we will widen it. Now, as I close, we are fighting for more than just the great city of Los Angeles that we love. We are fighting for the United States of America. And members, the United States of America is more than a bunch of land and several states. The United States of America is an idea. The United States of America is a dream that whoever you are, wherever you come from, if you work your guts out and catch a break, that you can change your status in life. That's what we're fighting for. And the moment we stop fighting for each other is the moment when we begin to lose our souls. And we have to realize that it takes courage as we fight, and the things that we fight for today will affect the lives of Angelenos for many years to come. When our grandchildren tell stories of us, what will they say? Will they say that we were brave? When the history books remember us, will they say that we did everything within our power to improve the lives of the people we represent? Members, we are not only fighting for our generation's future and our generation's freedom. We are fighting for the many generations to come. And at the end of the day, we have to show courage today to ensure that we can provide a better life for our children and our grandchildren tomorrow. I thank you for this honor that you have bestowed upon me, and I urge each and every one of you to get excited about this agenda that we have before us, because we have a lot of work to do. We are LA, we are big city, we do big stuff. That's who we are, that's how we roll. God bless you. Thank you very much. It is an honor to serve with each and every one of you. Thank you so much. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.